Hello everyone and welcome to this special broadcast on Women's Day. We are coming to you from the Hindon Air Base near the national capital. The Indian Air Force flies on the strength of exceptional professions, both men and women. But today is a good day to look at where the sortie in the Indian Air Force began for women. It actually began in 1971, when a young major from the Indian Army was seconded into the Indian Air Force. Her name was Dr. Vijay Lakshmi Ramana. Since then, there have been many milestones. In 2016, the Indian Air Force got its first woman fighter pilot. Today, there are a little over 1,600 women serving in the Indian Air Force. That's about 14% of the entire force. Not an ideal percentage, but the hope is it'll get to 50% someday. Over the next 30 minutes, I'm speaking to 4 exceptional professionals from the Indian Air Force. This is a conversation I've been looking forward to. Ladies, thank you very much for sparing the time to have this conversation with me. Now, I've been really looking forward to it. Let me quickly introduce all of you first. Flight Lieutenant Harraj Boparai. She's the first and only C17 woman pilot. She's joining us on the broadcast. Thank you very much for being here. Squadron Leader Neha Sivat. She's an air traffic controller, someone who's seen the entire Balakot incident very closely as well. She's going to talk to us about that. We have Squadron Leader Drishya Nach. She's a technical officer. She'll be talking to us about what exactly that role is. And we have Flying Officer Divya Kushwaha, the youngest of the lot here. She's a combat system operator. Again, we'll be talking about her role in the Indian Air Force. Thank you very much, first of all, for being here. Flight Lieutenant Harraj Boparai, that's the asset you fly. Yes. C17, more than what, 2 lakh tons?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, what is that experience like? How do you manage? I mean, many people will look at you and see, my God, look at the size of that aircraft and look at Harraj's size. Such a differential. How do you fly it?
It's a gigantic airplane, and it's the largest Air Force asset which the Indian Air Force has. And it's overwhelming to fly this aircraft, and I've been very passionate to fly it. Being the first one here in the cockpit, being the first woman here in the cockpit, it's a very different experience for me. Of course, a bird's eye view from the above, and being actively involved in so many missions and operations. I think it's once in a lifetime experience that I've been undergoing.
But when you saw the size of this C-17, did it intimidate you when you were, starting to train on it? Oh my God, look at the size, because that's the first thing that hits you when you see a C-17.
Definitely, ma'am, because the cockpit itself is on the first floor. So when you sit in the cockpit, you realize that you're much above the ground. And it's a very different experience even taxiing out the aircraft. So a gigantic aircraft, and it's actually the workforce, it's a workhorse of the Air Force.
It's a workhorse because every time there is a big mission to be flown, it's the C-17 that is doing it, whether it was Operation Dost in Turkey or whether it was Operation Ganga. And I believe you've flown a satellite out of India as well.
Definitely, ma'am. It's whenever the country is called, the C-17 Globe Master is put to task. And we have been the Globetrotters, and because the aircraft itself is the Globe Master, we have had a varied global experience in itself, and it's a very tasking job, I must say. It demands much out of us, but it's a very good experience.
Talk to me about Operation Dost, because this is a time when there's a country that has been hit by an earthquake that they haven't seen in 100 years. More than 75,000 people are dead. Of course, when you flew there, you probably didn't, no one knew that. What is that experience like, carrying, rescue teams and relief teams and medical equipment to a country where, which is completely been devastated? What is that feeling like when you're climbing onto the first floor of your cockpit and, taking to the air?
It's a very overwhelming and very fulfilling job, I must say. When the first call came in about the earthquake which had hit Turkey, the squadron was mobilized within hours, and we were ready to be tasked, and we were ready within few hours to airlift the humanitarian aid and the disaster relief mission to Turkey. And it involved a lot of intricate planning on ground, because we did not know that the foreign base, which all airports, which all runways were safe.
Correct.
Having been landed, planning that mission in itself was a very huge task for us, because we were not aware of the situation on ground. We were going through the news channels, and that was all the information that was available to us. But We've carried the NDRF teams, the field hospital on board, and it in itself was such a fulfilling job, I must say, that helping out a country in need of the hour is best which we could do to the nation, and that's how we serve the nation.
And we know that it came in for much appreciation in Turkey as well. We've all seen those pictures going, viral of, I mean, I'm sure if they could, many women would have come and hugged you too, but we saw an Indian Army doctor being hugged by an old woman in Turkey, and that picture had gone viral. Squadron Leader Neha Sivach, you're an air traffic controller, and right now you're posted at this base, at Hindon. What is it like managing mixed flights, that you're managing civilian flights and you're managing military flights as well? Is that the big challenge for Indian air traffic controllers, especially who belong to the Indian Air Force?
Actually, the Air Force Station Hindon is the biggest air base in terms of land in the whole Asia. We have been handling C17s. There were initially more of them. Now some of them has gone to Chandigarh. But anything happens, like when nation calls, then along with them, we are the first ones to be activated on ground. We are the ones who have to be available with all the support services, with all the flight planning for them. We do it and make it sure that they don't have to wait on ground because of anything that we could help them out with. Plus, we have we have civil flights also coming here. So we generally otherwise operate on our own frequencies, but here we are maintaining open so that all the traffic which goes from, we have a lot of traffic which goes to Delhi over Hindon, crossing over Hindon airspace. So we have to be coordinating with Delhi continuously, and along with them we have to cater for our own flying period and for our military aircraft, so that their operations is not affected because of civil flights of Delhi. Plus we have all the VIP commitments here, like of CM Yogi and all other dignitaries like Governor of UP, and everybody has to come here and we have to take care of them.
So that sounds fairly complicated. I'm assuming you are spending many hours here then at the ATC. You have seen Balakot and the post-Balakot scenario closely as well. You were posted at a forward air base?
Yes, before this place I was posted at a forward base close to western borders. So after Balakot, we had seen all possible operations happening in the terms of Air Force. Like we were operating from bunkers, we were operating day in, day out. We were not able to sleep for 2 minutes during the whole night. Then when we used to go home, we used to hear sirens and every possible thing which was happening in the terms of operations.
That must have been an interesting time.
Yes, definitely.
To say the least. Squadron Leader Drisha, you've been in the service for 9 years, 10 years?
I have completed the 8 years and 8 months of commissioned service in IAF.
And in all these years, have people asked you, how do you manage work-life balance? Because a lot of women get asked that question, not just in uniform, but otherwise as well. And does it irritate you?
I would like to comment about it in this manner. If the question is supposed to be, it's not a gender-biased question, I feel. In case somebody's handling a family at home, I think both men and women should be asked the same question. And I think in society, the notions has also been changing. The question, as you rightly brought it out, it's a question that should not be intimidating. Rather, it should not be raising our blood also. I feel men are also contributing equally. However, managing definitely, forces are ensuring from their side that they are giving you equal opportunities, even if in terms of personal side or if it is a professional issue. The forces make sure that you are getting that kind of off time to treat or rather attend to your families as well. And I don't think it is gender biased. If it is a requirement is of a male officer, I definitely think that they are also being provided for sufficient time to attend to their families.
Both you and Neha have served much more time than Harraj or Divya there. So let me ask you this, Drisha. Have you seen the Air Force change over a period of time? Since you've been in the force for 8.5 years, have you seen it evolve? Have you seen it grow as far as gender neutrality is concerned? Because that's the fashionable term right now, that our forces say that we like to believe that we are gender neutral. Of course, the Air Force has about 14% of its force, which is women, and you would one day want it to be 50, 49 or 50 at least. But how do you respond to whether you have seen the force change for the better.
As you yourself has brought out, the ratio which we are seeing right now is not the same which we were seeing 10 years before. Definitely there is an improvement, and from what I believe, the exposure which we are providing, say all these platforms are giving those opportunities, those young girls, to ensure that they are not getting blocked in any sort. The cerebral opportunity which we are talking about it when it comes to a gender neutral era, I feel that is what is more important, and definitely Forces is doing its best to bring it up to the required level. And definitely it's a long path, it's a gradual change, and I have seen that happening in Forces, and I believe all the measures that are being taken, that is definitely going to contribute to a level where we can achieve the so-called gender neutrality in respect of the availability of both men and women in the services. Maybe we are hopeful that we'll be reaching that ratio in a very good amount of time.
Maybe by the time your daughter joins the forces.
Definitely.
Let's just say
I'm
inshallah to
looking
that.
forward to it,
Neha,
definitely.
anything, since you are roughly the same seniority?
I would like to add on to this, we are changing, like what we have seen now, we have seen the section commanders being lady officers. So that definitely brings out that we are changing, we are growing for better. And we are very much hopeful that soon we will have stations also being commanded by women officers.
But talking about command, I do believe that a combat
Yes.
unit of the Indian Air Force, a missile unit, for the first time ever, is going to be commanded by a woman. So that should be a milestone.
Yes, Group Captain Dhami, who was earlier posted here only, now she is going to command a missile unit from 27th March, I suppose.
So as as a young professional, as someone who is younger to all of them, when you see these milestones, when you hear of these milestones, do you feel that you march on the shoulders of women who came before you? Because actually the first woman in the Indian Air Force was inducted in 1971. She was a major in the army. Her husband asked her to apply to the Indian Air Force, and when she did, she had to design her own uniform. That's how things were. So from 1 to more than 1600 now, and you are one of the 1600. What's the experience been like for you?
Ma'am, like you said, that we've been marching on the path that the women before us have paved. So it's actually, we feel overwhelmed. We feel grateful that something like this was done before us, that we didn't have to initiate our own journey. But at the same time, the same responsibility lies on us to work every day in the same manner, so that people coming after us are also, they also look at us like this. And every day, like you said, and it's just not for women, I think it's for all the gender neutral, as we're saying. It's for men, it's for women, all the aspirants who see us, they should look at us and they should feel that, yes, that is where I want to reach,
And you are a combat system operator on board the C-130. What does that mean? Tell us what that role entails.
C-130J is the Special Operations aircraft of the Indian Air Force, ma'am. And as a CSO, Combat System Operator, I am involved right from the planning stage of the missions that we are given and right to the execution. The aircraft is armed with defensive systems and combat systems along with the EOIR pod, which is the electro-optic infrared pod. So when the aircraft flies at a lower altitude, I'm the eyes of the aircraft, you can say. I'm supposed to maneuver the pod in order to look at in order to examine, or if there's a SAR mission, or if there are missions that involves you to look at long ranges. So I would be doing that. The aircraft has been actively involved in various special operations that have been going on, right from Op Devi Shakti to trial landings which have been done in NDA, or the Campbell Bay to the Operation Dost that we just spoke about.
Yeah.
So it gives us an opportunity. When we look at it, it symbolizes opportunity. When we get a call from the headquarters that you're supposed to go on this mission, then the aircraft gets ready in maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hours, we are rolling, and the modifications get changed, the DSS works for it. So I think this symbolizes opportunity for not just me, but for all the young officers, as you're saying.
Speaking about opportunity, I just want to ask you, how many of you have a Fauji background?
Well, I too have a...
1, 2, 3. 3 out of 4, and yours is half.
Yeah, more like it.
Yeah, okay, yours is half. So is that something that, when you see your fathers or your brothers or your uncles or your grandfathers, in those days grandfathers, not grandmothers, don the uniform every morning, go wherever they need to go and come back in that uniform and take so much pride in that uniform, is that something inspires you, or are these individual dreams, not family dreams?
I've been very passionate to join the forces. I'm a third generation armed forces officer. My grandfather was an emergency commissioned officer. My father, he's a retired colonel H.S. Boparai. He was also an army aviator.
Acha.
So I've always been passionate to join this force, and it has been very fascinating to see the aircrafts flying. So I used to ask my dad, how do you fly it against the natural notions of the gravity? So in itself is a very overwhelming experience that once we see our old our parents, our grandparents doing this, and donning the same uniform is a lot of responsibility on our shoulders.
But didn't he say, why are you joining the Air Force, join the army only?
But it gives a purpose of serving the nation and also pursuing your own passion.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What about you?
My father is still serving in Indian Air Force.
Oh, he's in the Indian Air Force itself?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Have you ever been posted together?
No, ma'am. We haven't got that opportunity
Thankfully.
yet.
Maybe you should say thankfully.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
My brother is also a pilot in Dorniers. He's flying Dorniers. My husband is a technical officer. My brother-in-law is also in army. He's a major. So
this is a full Fauji family.
True. And my father-in-law was also retired from Haryana Police.
So can I just assume that your children will not have a choice but to join the forces?
No, definitely not. They, whatever we are truly open to them, and whatever their passion would be, will be given opportunity to them.
What about you?
I personally feel that what guides you towards that is definitely the family element of it. However, until unless, as Harraj rightly said, until unless you don't have that passion in yourself, I don't foresee even our kids or maybe in the future generation also, just because you are in Fauj, I don't anticipate that they will be definitely going to coming and joining, but definitely the passion with which we have joined Fauj has been the ultimate motive.
Driving force,
definitely, yes. But the guidance, definitely it has come
and
from
after
the family.
all these years, there's a certain fatigue that sets in. And you become jaded after a certain point of time doing the same job over and over again. Has that fatigue and jadedness set in?
Not exactly, I would say,
yet.
because every new day comes with its own challenges, and Fauj makes sure that you're not getting bored. Or
You are transferred
exactly.
frequently and you're
Exactly.
shifting your
Another challenge,
places.
and you have to just hop on, get on with the day, and just come back and see, okay, fine, I had a satisfied.
There are ocean of opportunities here in the Air Force. So anything which happens across the globe, across the country, Air Force is always pitched in to help its own citizens and across the countries.
I mean, for someone who's transported a satellite, someone who's transported, what else have you transported? I'm sure Operation Ganga means a lot of medical equipment,
Yes.
oxygen cylinders.
The unit has been the unit was operationalized during Operation Devi Shakti, Operation Ganga. We have carried out evacuations of the Indian diaspora from Ukraine, from Afghanistan, and it has been just in matter of couple of hours that the unit got the time to prepare itself. So that is how quick the Air Force reacts to any situation here, whether in the same country or across the globe.
As the youngest of the lot, can I ask you what it means when you wear your uniform? And by the way, the uniform has of course evolved over a period of time as well, but when you wear your uniform every morning, strap on your laces, what's the feeling like?
Mom, before that we were discussing who inspired us. So I used to see my dad don his olives right in the morning, going to duty, leading a disciplined life. So he used to be inspirational for me. Now when I get up and don my overalls or don my blues and get on with the day, so it is a feeling that okay, you have been chosen, you have been one of the chosen few to do this task, and that is it. Rest everything, whatever is happening inside, you just set it aside. Once you're in the cockpit, you're just determined to the task.
Do young girls come to you and say, "Hame bhi banna hai"? What is it that you do? How
Yes,
can we
ma'am.
become like you? Tell me that conversation.
Definitely, ma'am. In fact, as Hindon is one of the largest bases, we keep on having visits by colleges and school girls and school students rather would come and ask us what are the ways through which we can come and what are the fields that we can join. And all that all of us, I think, can say is that it is the best service you can join, because at the end of the day, it gives you an opportunity to serve the nation. It is giving you an opportunity to touch the sky. I mean, which other force would?
Yeah, you can't have a better job.
Yes, ma'am.
And a better office, I guess. Squadron Leader Drisha, all of you have been inducted by the Short Service Commission. Most men get inducted in the Permanent Commission. Is it your hope that one day you will see that change?
I I would like to say that we have already started seeing that change. Say, as you told, in 1971, when the initial induction happened in respect of women, the ratio was definitely not this impressive. It was a start. It was definitely a start. We have seen a huge improvement in terms of inductions, the kind of commissioning in which women are inducted. Say earlier, say all of us here, we are all short service officers, but we have already seen that change. We have started inducting women officers, say women candidates in NDA as well. So they are moving towards a future where they are getting inducted as a permanent commission, and they will be serving in the forces for a longer period of time. Definitely, I foresee that this is going to happen in a much huge scale, and we are already in the good pathway about it. I feel
they will march on your shoulders,
definitely,
as she said.
yes.
You know, as we end this show, can I ask you all, one by one, to say something to young girls who are watching you? Many of them are seeing you, hearing what you do, seeing you in uniform, and thinking to myself, this is what I want to be. What would you want to say to them?
To the younger generation, I would definitely say to make your dreams soar high, open your wings and fly.
I would like to say that if you get an opportunity to serve the nation with so much of pride, then you should not miss it and definitely should go for it. And especially Air Force, sky has no limit.
Okay.
I would like to say, just to add to that same point, the opportunity is definitely there. All you need to do is grab it and be there, available there to do that task what is being assigned to you. Opportunities are there, they are endless. All you need to do is focus yourself towards it, and you will be able to achieve. And this is not definitely just for the budding female candidates. I would like to recommend the same for all youngsters. If you are ready to do the job, the opportunity is readily available for you.
Divya?
I want to say, ma'am, especially as it is on the occasion of Women's Day, to all the young girls out there, that if there's something that your brothers are doing, if there's something that your fathers are doing or your grandfathers are doing, then you're equally capable and in fact more to do the same. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise, that you can't have something, you can't have both, you can't have, what you dreamed of. And for the men to support them, because we'll grow only when we come together. So I think it's high time we start teaching that in schools. That is also happening. So yeah, don't let anyone tell you
All of you
otherwise.
essentially are telling girls to be bigger and better than their dreams. I thank you all. That's a great job pitch, by the way. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us on this broadcast. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you.